Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and in this episode we are back with SimBox Control, which is bringing the entire cockpit to your fingertips. Stick around. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides from Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. Alright you guys, so SimBox Control is an application that I have done a review on quite a few times, and the developer just continues to enhance it further and further and further as time goes on. What I really appreciate, and I'll be sure to try to remember at least to put a link down to his Discord down below, but one of the really cool parts is he's consistently putting out votes on his Discord on what features you guys would like to see next, either features or aircraft specific profiles. So if we come into the profiles for a second, you guys can get an idea of some of the aircraft that it automatically controls. So you have the Flybywire A320X experimental and development version, the Phoenix A320, the Boeing 737 series, the Aerosoft CRJs, the 787, and recently added the ATR 72 and 42-600 series, which, by the way, guys, I know that you guys caught the announcement in the beginning, but if you're interested in learning how to fly the ATR 72-600, I did just recently release my first version of the ATR 72 tutorial guide, which walks you through the entire flight from cold and dark at departure to cold and dark at destination. Patreon site, guys, level tier 2 and above, that's $10 a month or more, and you get access to all my guides. So if you're interested in supporting me in the channel and the work that I do, I really appreciate it. Moving back on. You also have the G1000. Now, obviously, you have general aviation default, but you have the G1000. Now, check this up. We're also got into X-Plane 11, so this isn't strictly to Microsoft Flight Simulator, but obviously that's, where my hometown here is, if you want to call it that, for flight simulation. What I really appreciate is a lot of the things that he's done with the program. And we're going to be talking about that. One of the things that I actually really enjoy is that you can just simply click a button and you have access to the changelog here. Walks you through every freaking version variation. The guy's just staying on top of it. He's really doing a fantastic job with this. Also, the website walks you through everything from connecting it to installing it. Now, let's talk about interacting with it for just a second, because we're going to have one particular method I'm going to show today is going to be on the web browser, and that web browser is also going to be using on a touchscreen monitor. But you have the option of web browser, you have the option of iOS and Android application. Now, what is that important is because, if you have an Android or Apple device, you can actually download it directly from the store and get a much different kind of version release. However, any device that has a web access can also use this as well. So really, it doesn't matter what kind of device you want to use this on. There is a way to use it with it. Really, really slick program, guys. He's done a really, really fantastic job. SimBox app, if you guys are interested, like if you download it from your iOS or your Android, quick QR code, boom, and all of a sudden you're in business. Or you can just, log in the old-fashioned way, tell it IP address and all that good jazz. It also does support physical rotary knobs, such as like Knobster or something to that effect. You can use those with it as well to further enhance that. We're going to talk about where Knobster or something like that will come into play here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and get into the overall functionality of the product. So in order to do so, the first thing that I need to do here is to get us into the cockpit. So stepping upstairs on our ATR here, we're just going to flip our battery on for a minute. It's also coming down the tablet. Let's get that external power set up. We're not going through a full flight or anything like that, guys. Everything that I want to show you, I can show you directly from here with the aircraft sitting on the ground. It does need electrical power. So obviously that's going to be, one of those critical features that's come up top. And available power. There we go. Okay, so now let's get back into the SimBox apps, which I, for whatever reason, felt it was an important idea to minimize it. There we go. You know what, while I'm doing this, let me just bring my taskbar to the right screen so I don't have to worry about doing that again. Okay, so now let's talk about how to interact with it. And this is where a browser of some sort comes to play. Okay, so let's simply open up a browser, which of course is on the wrong monitor. There it is. And actually, you know what? I don't know why I'm thinking about that. We're just going to click the web browser button right here. Okay, that opens it up, sends it up over here. Now, you can change the profile if you want to, but obviously since it's the aircraft we're in, we don't want to change it. So let's talk about some of the basic features that come with this. And for those who don't know, let's see, I believe it's F12. Nope, maybe it's F11. F11, there you go. And obviously we're not going to cover the screen for our cockpit, but this is to show you guys. You can, if you hit F11 on your keyboard, it will remove the web bar. So all you're left with is the app itself, in case you guys weren't aware of that. So first, we have a full map. And by the way, again, this works on both local and remote devices. I have used other applications in the past where I couldn't get the overlay map, or I should say the map in general, to actually populate. You also have your altitude down there, your current heading, and airspeed. Pretty helpful stuff here. What I really like about it is it's more on the lines of with like Navigraph or something. I mean, in the aspect that you can see your taxiways, your gate numbers, everything is really, really nice. And then if you just want to zoom back in on the airplane, just hit follow airplane. Even gives you the correct direction information. Now, one of the things that I haven't seen, but I haven't really been playing around with the map too much, oops, didn't mean to do that, is if there was a way to change it from light mode to dark mode. But if that's not critical, you know, that's me nitpicking, right? Going over to your flight plan, you actually can fetch a flight plan. And this is in the interest of like SimBrief. Okay, so let's see here. C700, like here you go, guys. This obviously is the wrong aircraft, but the last aircraft that I flew on SimBrief was the Cessna Citation Longitude, which is a C700. And we flew it from Boston over to Minneapolis. So obviously that's not going to work with our aircraft right now, but I did want to show you guys that information is available, as well as absolutely everything else that you need. This really is fantastic, guys. The developer really did think about, oops, I didn't mean to click fetch again. But if for any reason you need to reload it, that option is there by, again, simply clicking that fetch button that you guys just saw. Now, let's get into some of the other cooler stuff here. So before we get into all of the manipulation aspects, let's talk about some settings here. He recently added a feature called gestures, which is essentially, you know, this is where a touchscreen comes into play, but I'm going to show you guys that it actually also works with a mouse as well. It's going to be a little finicky with a mouse, so no judgment. It's designed to work with your fingers, and then I'll move it down to the touchscreen later on, but I want you guys to see a little bit of everything. So you also have virtual knobs, which, here, let's just show that first. Here are your virtual knobs right here. Okay, you can click and move on things. Again, that's not work. Oh, there you go. Check it out. So it's using the mouse wheel. Really effective, okay? But again, obviously, if you're using a mouse, actually, even if you're using a mouse, if you're already using a mouse and keyboard, this still has benefit because you don't have to worry about using that lock functionality in Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can just move your mouse over to a different screen and you're good to go. And you don't have to worry about when the plane turns, chasing the mouse cursor around and making sure it stays on what you're trying to do. So that's advantage number one to that. Okay, but these are what the virtual knobs look like. And on a touchscreen, you would just glide your fingers across either the top rotary or the bottom rotary, depending on what you're manipulating, right? So the bottom one here. Oh, actually, I think it's not working well because I'm using the mouse. I'll show you guys later on when we get into the software here. I'll move it over to the touchscreen in just a minute. So landing gear handle, very simple, landing gear menu. This is going to be a really cool one we'll talk about here in just a minute. And then all of your autopilot stuff. Let's come on over to settings again. We're going to disable the virtual knob. We're going to come back over to enable gestures. You can also customize what items actually show up here on the menu. If there are certain things that, or on the toolbar, if there are things that you guys don't want there, you can remove them as you wish. But let's come back over here and let's see here. Let's go to the radio. This may not, oh, there's the, okay, so there it was right there. So if you click and hold for a second, that little indicator right there, you'll see under your finger as well, but indicates, and you guys see up at the top, says using gesture knob. Now this is going to be a little weird with the mouse, but basically the further that I go, the faster it starts changing frequency. I come back. And then how the bottom frequencies work, it's based on position, right? Let's see here. If I come up over here. Oh, no, that just did a swap. I didn't want to swap it. Let's go down a little lower. There it goes. And again, this is not how this is meant to be used, guys. It is not meant to be used with a mouse, okay? So I'm just trying to show you some of the functionality, why it's getting a little weird. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys on the touchscreen here in just a minute, but I wanted you guys to get an idea of some of the stuff that's already here. Autopilot features, pretty much anything that you can think of, and again, the same advantage there. So like our heading mode, that centered it to our current heading. There's the gestures enabled. If we go all the way over here, so if we want to set like 210, there you go. You guys got the gist here. Now, what I haven't figured out is I don't know if you can go counterclockwise. It looks like you can just spin it all around, but at that speed, it really doesn't take that long. So again, if we wanted to come back to 210. There I go. There we go. Okay, and then obviously you have all of your modes and functions, everything here, vertical speed, all of your autopilot functionalities there. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to move this down to the touchscreen. So I'm going to come out of full screen mode for a second. Okay, so like we can click our heading. Now I'm using the touchscreen. So we can set our heading. There's our altitude. And that is going left and right. So it actually does work. You just don't get as much room on the left, or in our case, the right here. But I can set my altitude. And so if we wanted to do... You guys can see I am bringing it back now. So it works very, very well, you guys. Very, very well. And you can move it very quickly. So if I want to set course 1, it moves fast, guys. So this is a really, really slick application. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you guys is the MCDU. All right, you guys. So for this part, I threw it together really quick and dirty. So don't pay attention to the scaling. Yes, you have to sort of configure it. And I recommend a really cool tool for doing that is Pop-Out Panel Manager. It's an absolutely fantastic tool, but I wanted to show you guys the overall functionality of this, right? So let's go to like new flight plan, right? And we're going to go to route. All right, and I don't know. Let's say we wanted to do... Let's go to Las Vegas instead, or Los Angeles. KT, where are my alphabets? KTUS, KLAX. Oops, went too fast. Even the mouse and click doesn't go that fast. Let that load in. There it goes. Oh, right as I hit it. Okay, yep, I know. It's yelling at me because I already did that. Okay, and then, now we simply go to execute. Let's start setting things up. Let's say we're going to depart on runway 11 left. We're going to depart using the Burrow 4 SID, Gila Bend transition. Hit execute. Okay. From the Gila Bend, let's see here. I think Eastwood would be the next one. No, that can't be right. Messy would be the next one. So we're going to type clear SSI. And go to new waypoint. And then from there, we would enter in our SID. Or our star, ILS 24 right. Would probably come in on the Hollywood 1. Using Sivu as our exit onto the approach. Eastwood as our transition. And hit execute again. I mean, check this out, guys. It's working beautifully. Little scaling, that's something that you just have to, fiddle with. I'm trying to do this quickly for a video, so I wanted to show you guys, the whole process. So that's why I didn't have it all nice and pretty when you guys joined, is I wanted you guys to see what it all took. But if you guys take a look at how fast the response time is, it's working absolutely perfectly. You really just can't complain with this. And let's see here. This would probably be K Ontario. Oops. And we'd probably go to, say, 18,000 feet. Boom. Super, super awesome, you guys. This is absolutely a fantastic application. I'm going to put us in at flight level 170. Boom. Just an incredibly awesome app. You have all of your lights that are always a pain to get to. Autopilot information. Now, this is where, honestly, I will say 2 touchscreens would be a little bit easier. And I do wish the developer would sort of, for the portrait mode, if they would stack these instead. But these are all suggestions that we can bring up to him. He's a very open-minded person and wants this application to be very, very perfect for everybody. But it is just super, super responsive, very lightweight. I haven't noticed any kind of frame rate hit whatsoever. Everything's just flawless. I have this right now. What you guys are seeing this on is a, what is this thing? I think it's a 10 or 11 inch touchscreen monitor. I think this thing cost me about $60 on Amazon. It's using an HDMI to USB 3.0 adapter for the connection points, not even using one of the ports on my video card, and it works absolutely beautifully. And I really, really recommend that you guys look into this application. It really saves a lot of time. You can use an Android tablet, you can use an iPad, you can use a cell phone, you can use anything you want to configure this stuff. So anyway, you guys, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this little video and gave you something to think about. The link to this will be down in the description below if you guys are interested. It is again, it's a fantastic application. I truly enjoy using this one. This is one of my, definitely my top 5 all-time apps that you must have, right up there with the Class Echo. I mean, I think it's a battle right now of which one I prefer more, and it really depends what you're doing with it. I think the biggest value that I have with this application specifically is definitely the MCDU. The MCDU works, guys, with all the profiles that were mentioned before. The A32NX, the Phoenix A320, the 787, the 737, the 747. I might have said 747. I might have misspoken on that one. But the CRJ. So the MCDU works with all of those. And I've been talking to him about things like the G3000 touchscreen, the G5000 touchscreen, and the Longitude. So things are moving along, you guys. Consider picking this one up, guys. I guarantee that you'll be happy with it. Really great application. As always, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Stay safe and healthy.